Welcome everybody to Red's Ramblings. I have with me today Simon from over in Romania, just outside of Bucharest. Young college student over there right now. Simon, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Simon Florin. I'm 19 years old, studying engineering, my first year, and I'm also a Roma Gypsy. So
Mm.
I I really like to share my perspective on things because a lot of people speak in the name of my ethnicity without really understanding everything.
Right. And I'm actually intrigued by that a fair amount because where I stay in the States here in South Carolina, there is, we call it a gypsy camp, right? I don't know if it's like any type of connection towards Roma Gypsies. I don't know. But as far as I've been growing up, it's been considered the gypsy camp. So explain a little bit or as much you like about Roma Gypsies, because I've heard the term before, but I don't know much about them.
Well, Roma, it's the name in the Romani language for man. And the gypsy is the exonym, the name given to us by other people, by Europeans mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I also say that the story is that gypsies originated in northern India.
Okay.
But not much else is known. It's up to debate. For example, the scientific consensus is that they were descendants from untouchables, but other people consider it that they may have been border guards as a traditional occupation. From there, they moved through the Ottoman Empire, and from the Ottoman Empire, they reached Europe, where they settled in the Balkans, or were forced to settle in the Balkans, or further on. In Romania specifically, they were given to Romanians by the Ottomans. The Ottoman Empire gifted to Stephen the Great and the Holy, as his other title is, as a compensation, about 10,000 families. From there, they were introduced into the feudal system, where they were put on the bottom rung, right below the serfs. So that's how they came to be in Europe, in Romania and in Bulgaria, Russia.
So you said earlier one side of the debates is they came from the untouchables. What is that?
The lowest caste in the Indian caste system.
Okay.
They will do things like butcher animals, carcasses, or clean streets.
And so is being a Roma Gypsy, is that just something you're born into, or is that something like you can become part of? Like let's say I moved to Romania. Is that something I could join?
In a way, it's not something exclusive anymore. It's more or less tied to the ethnicity. But if you are to marry or to simply live there, you would be accepted. But you wouldn't really be considered a gypsy or something like that.
Right.
And there's very little separation between most Romanians and most gypsies. Very few gypsies still hold on to some of their traditions. Most of them, like me for example, fully embraced Romanian culture. And for the best, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, it's always good to have pride in your people and your country. That's for sure. I'm off. I mean, hell, I'm from America. Probably one of the most proudful people. Sometimes for
Yeah,
ignorant reasons, but hey, it's
I
always
think
good to be proud.
it's admirable. It's
It
more,
is.
more, it's even more admirable in this day and age when to be prideful of your ancestors and your
Mm,
people is looked down upon, especially for
right.
Europeans.
Right. I'll agree there. You said you're going to college to be an engineer. Can I ask what kind of engineer? Because there's a whole bunch of different kinds.
Constructions, buildings engineering.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the translation is pretty strange. It's mostly installations, things like
Yeah.
electricity, plumbing, gas.
Right. Yeah. In looking into stuff about Romania, I was coming to find that a lot of inventions that the world, I'm not going to say takes for granted, but a lot of stuff that's helped fuel the world and fuel innovation of the world came from Romania. A lot of it. Uh, the modern automobile, in a sense, body shape came from an individual from Romania. How he put the wheels into the car, whereas before it was more like a buggy, and the wheels sat outside the cart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That came from a Romanian. Jet engines are credited to a Romanian inventor. Ballpoint pen, even though it's something small, but still, Romania has a lot of inventions. Insulin, insulin has saved millions upon millions of people around the world today. And the guy who invented that or created it, I don't know if you, whatever, however the proper term is, was a Romanian scientist. So that was a lot of stuff I wasn't aware of. A lot of stuff that we now know and like take for granted or use every day came from Romania. And that kind of stuff, that's one of the coolest things I like learning about different countries that I speak to is what did they make? Like, is there something that they came up with that a lot of people don't know about, And so that was some cool stuff about that. So hopefully, yeah, going to be an engineer, hell, man, Simon Florian, his name's going to be up on that list one day too. Who knows?
Oh, I loved it, but maybe.
So were you born and raised in Romania?
Yes. Just outside of Bucharest. I actually never left the country.
Oh, really?
Surprisingly, yeah,
I'm
never
the
left the
same.
border.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been around the country a little bit, but never left, and hell, can't leave now even if I wanted to.
Oh yeah.
So what is, because I got you off of Reddit, right? And what is some of the things that you see of Romania? Because you seem to, like you said earlier, you're very proud of your Romanian heritage. What is some of the things that you're most proud of in terms of Romanian culture?
I'd say maybe holding on to the piece of land we have.
Mhm.
It was historically a very contested area.
Right.
There were a lot of gold mines, access to the sea. I say it's. I'm also proud for holding on to traditions, things that a lot of people are proud of in their countries.
Right.
I also say that in a way it was Romanians in general tried to really treat their minorities better and to not force their cultures upon them. For example, we have German-speaking Transylvanian Saxons, Tatars, which are Muslim, Hungarians. They're more vocal, not they don't like us really that much, but we try to make them. It's usually peaceful.
Yeah.
And the Tatar community, especially, you often hear about Muslim minorities raising hell somewhere,
Mm.
and you've never seen that from the Tatars, especially, which is especially strange because historically, again, they were raiding the area which they settled before. We were at war basically, and now they're just like any other Romanians.
You said
So
you were saying Tatar?
yes, they're
What is
a
that?
Turkic people. They're
Okay. Okay.
from Crimea, Russian steppe.
Mm. So I was looking into some of, because basically if you were to ask any American off the street, what do you know about Romania, right? What do you think they would say?
Uh, I say things like Transylvania,
Exactly.
Dracula.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's partially our fault. Uh, we really marketed it like that.
I mean, I'm
Even
sure it brings money to the country, which is always good.
yeah, I've been to the Bran Castle, Dracula's castle, and it was one of the biggest tourist traps ever.
Oh, for sure.
There was like the place was interesting. There was it's worth visiting, but keeping track of all the trinkets, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree there. So yeah, like I was about to say the same. If you were to ask me yesterday, before I really looked into Romania, what I knew about Romania, it was gonna be vampires, Dracula, the castle and all. That's really all I knew. In looking into it here today, though, some of the stuff I find and some stuff I like to find, and you seem to have a passion for it as well, is I like old stuff, like old cultural traditions and monuments, buildings, stuff like that. And I hate when stuff like that's torn down. Because here in America, we're a few hundred years old. We don't have a long history per se. Over there in Europe, in Romania, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, wherever, India, all the other countries around the world, that's like thousands and thousands of years of history. So you got that castle, the Brands castle, that's who knows how, hundreds of years old. You got probably other ruins that are thousands of years old, and it's still there. So I look at that kind of stuff and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. I want to go there, So what is, if you had to pick one point besides the castle, one point in Romania that you feel is like the a highlight of Romanian culture, is there something you could tie to that?
I'd have to think about that for a second.
Because I was looking into the one of them that I liked, that Mary cemetery.
Yeah, that's.
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
was thinking about that.
Yeah, like I'm about to pull it up here. It's a cemetery created by a guy, way back in the day. And it's super colorful. It's considered one of the happiest cemeteries in the world, which is an odd title to have. Let's be honest. But it's
Like,
beautiful looking. And he painted some of the stuff himself. And it's just amazing looking. Like he would paint on it like how people died, their stories behind them, and like that's a cool thing to have, and definitely something to be proud of for sure for your country and culture. And
I don't know if but on the gravestones are written a few funny poems about the
Yes.
person's death and how they
Yeah.
were released.
Yeah, I was reading and I watched a video on YouTube a little bit about it, and yeah, like he would put like there's one of I'm probably butchering this, but it basically had to say of be quiet around here or you'll wake my wife, and you don't want to wake my wife because she'll do something like that. You know, she'll get mad or something. You know, and that's on headstones over there. It's very cool, and it's one guy started doing this years ago, and now it's a pretty good. I guess it's a tourist spot, but being a cemetery, that's kind of weird, in my opinion, for tourists to flock to. But it is very well presented, very well preserved. And yeah, I mean, it's a happy, merry cemetery, which is a pretty cool thing to have. And one of the other ones I was looking at that I would love to do, and I've seen the pictures of it before, and I never knew exactly where they were until today, is you have what's considered the most haunted forest in the world.
No, Hoia-Baciu or something like that.
Yeah, and it has those curved trunks, which I'm sure most people have seen floating around TV or just searching through the internet a time or two, but never knew exactly where it was. And that's over there in Romania. Is that a spot you've been to as well?
No, never been there.
Yeah.
I would like to, but not yet.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's considered one of the most paranormal places in the entire world. It's named after a shepherd who apparently lost like 200 sheep there. And there, not too long ago, was reports of like a UFO sighting over there. I gotta look more into that because that's kind of interesting for me. But yeah, like I've seen pictures of these trees numerous times, but I never knew where in the world they were. And here they are in Romania. So I'm like, if I ever go, even though I'm one of those, like, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but certain shit is freaky and like, what the hell, It would be a cool thing to see and walk through and just be a part of. Because not only that, I mean, those are some weird trees. Like, why wouldn't you want to see it? That's some cool shit to see. Seeing it in pictures is one thing, but to be there in their presence, especially if it is spooky, get that little tingly feel, hair standing on the back of your neck vibe. Definitely be something cool to be a part of and see as well, I would imagine.
No, I've never really learned why the trees curve like that.
Right? That's some weird shit, dude. That's some weird shit, man.
I've heard some things about magnetic fields or...
Yeah, there was, in the quick snippet of the story that I read about it, is there's one part in there where, like, if you have a compass, your magnet won't work. It'll just, spin around and around and around. And something about moss doesn't grow and, like, other plants don't grow in this particular part of the forest. I didn't look much into that because that was, like, towards where we were getting ready to start recording. But one of the things I did do is I asked some friends of mine who I know watch my show from time to time. I was like, hey, I'm about to talk with a guy from Romania. Does anybody have any questions they want me to ask him? Well, one of them apparently knows someone, a friend of mine, Ish, has a roommate that's from Romania originally. He didn't say where, but he's originally from Romania. So I'm about to pull up his questions and see what you can tell me. He says to ask them about the difference between Western Europe and Eastern Europe. That's his first question. I don't know exactly what he's getting at from there, but
I'd say one of the main differences is Western Europe didn't really fall behind the Iron Curtain, and they were allowed historically to develop much more.
Mm-hmm.
Romania was historically held back by the Ottoman Empire for almost 600 years. They were
Right.
attacked on. After that, there was the World Wars.
Right.
And when we fell behind the Iron Curtain, not only did we inherit communism and all the corruptions and problems that it brings, we also didn't fall under the American reconstruction. I forgot, there was millions of dollars injected into Europe by America in order to rebuild it after the Second World War.
Mm.
And we never really got to see that. So with all that prosperity that Western Europe has, it was also allowed to develop a much more different mentality.
Mm.
And another part is colonialism.
Right.
When Western Europe being able to develop colonial powers, and when those colonies fell, they were left with a lot of guilt, and they
Right.
were left with this culture of guilt, with white guilt or something like that.
Mm.
And you see how it influences them, how they no longer hold on to their traditions, and they think of their ancestor as evil or something like that. How they feel like they should not be proud and should become I don't know how to say it. More or less commit. Nah, that's a bit too far. I say they bend over backwards for other people that they shouldn't.
Right. They're ashamed of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are much more ashamed, despite being much more prosperous.
Right. So, I mean, that's fair. I've spoken with numerous other people who were colonized by Britain, the Commonwealth countries and whatnot, and it's a similar story, not always the same, but a pretty similar stories. You had the colonization all there and all that kind of stuff, and then gone. And so that whatever country was left to pick up the pieces, and for all of them, it's been a struggle. But from what I'm hearing already, from you at least, and so correct me if I'm wrong, do you see, because you're very proudful of Romania and your Romanian people and culture and all that, do you see Romania making its way up, or do you see there's still something holding them back, possibly, as a country?
I'd say there's a few things that held Romania back, but despite those, we are moving forward. Even if at a snail's pace, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
And I'd say that the reason for this continual movement upwards, there's a lot of money being injected into our economy by the Romanians that have moved abroad, worked there, and chose to send their money back home. And
Right.
Our government depends a lot on that for their growth, and doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. So there's that. So it's not really completely something to boast about, this upwards movement, because it's too dependent on our people that choose to move away instead of work here, instead of the nation here.
No, yeah. I mean, that I understand that. That definitely makes sense. I can see that. To hopefully get onto a lighter note, he wanted me to ask about Easter in Romania. So apparently Easter's pretty big over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very religious. I'm not actually that religious myself, so
Hmm.
I don't have that much to say about it. There's, for example, we one of the things that you might find curious is that we dye eggs and we play a little game. We
Okay.
say uh, Christ has risen. For example, I'm holding an egg here,
Right.
an egg here. Uh, a friend or a family member holds an egg above it with the pointy end upwards or downwards.
Okay.
The guy who holds it above says, Christ has risen. I say, he has truly risen. Knock. The egg that cracked loses, and the winner takes it up. So that's
Okay. I like little fun, like odd traditions like that. Those things. You guys have a from an American viewpoint, a very unique wedding tradition. Stealing the bride is apparently a Romanian wedding tradition. Can you explain on that a little bit?
When I haven't been to that many weddings, but I'll say it like I remember it from the last time. So there's the wedding party after they officially married in the church and everything. There's the party. At any point during the party, some of the attendees take the wife when the groom is not being careful, put her up in a car, drive somewhere quiet, and calls the groom. He says, we have our wife, now here's our demands. Usually they demand a bottle of alcohol, something more expensive. If the groom can afford, she probably could, like a bottle of Jack at least.
Yeah. Have you been a part of that? Like one of the ones to take the wife, or were you just like in the party itself?
I was last time I was at the wedding. I was like 15, 16.
Okay.
Not exactly bride stealing material.
Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, I was reading into that, and I was like, that sounds. It sounds like a good time, but like if it was me, like if I didn't know this and I happened to be in Romania and someone invited me to a wedding, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What the hell? Someone, but you guys will probably all be laughing and having a good time.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. Don't worry about it.
Expect it to...
Yeah. So one of the other, let's see, what else we got? We have one. Okay, it's a food question. Oh crap. Okay, so he spelled the question. So my bad if I'm wrong in pronouncing this. Polenta? Polenta? Is that a food item that you're aware of?
Yes. It's so what's the question about? Or should I explain what it is?
It says, let's see. Okay. Polenta and misi or misi are very popular in Romania. Maybe ask where they came from and why they are so popular.
Well, polenta first, it's cornmeal boiled with a little salt until it curdles a little, and it's usually used as a substitute for bread or eaten with cheese and sour cream alone. So yeah, it's pretty popular. I eat it quite often myself. Mici, on the other hand, are more of a barbecue thing.
Okay.
They are, last time I checked, they are Turkish.
Mm-hmm.
They are like these caseless sausages, uh, spiced a lot. Not hot, spicy, but they are,
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
yeah.
What kind of meats is that? Is that just like beef or is that
We
pork
usually
or
have
what?
a beef and pork mix.
Mm-hmm.
When they first appeared, they would be something like mutton or beef,
Right.
but that was due to the Muslim tradition.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
You'd see this is often meats are often attributed to Romanians, but I think Serbians and other Balkan nations have it as well.
Yeah, one of my earlier episodes is with the lady originally from Serbia, and we did. I don't think it was called this, but it looked very similar. It definitely looked very similar to this, but we didn't speak of it much because she was vegan, or vegetarian, so couldn't really talk about that much. um, but so I was looking in. One of the things I was looking into as well is bread in general is apparently pretty big in Romania. Like I remember there was I watched some YouTube video of so it's like 10 facts about Romania or something like that, and bread was mentioned. And then the comments, I was sifting through the comments, and it was like if you're in Romania and your grandmother sees you eating bread, she's going to be upset that you don't have bread to eat with your bread, or something like that. It's like in Romania, bread eats you. So is it just because it's easy to make or buy? Is it relatively cheap? I would assume as well.
Yeah, it's really
I mean,
cheap.
bread definitely is delicious. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. And then the thing with Romania, you often find fresh loaves of bread in stores, not sliced, not of anything, without sugar added, without additives. They get hard really quick, but for example, if you have half of a bread left over, you'd probably not want to eat that. Not because it goes bad or anything, but because it goes really hard and crumbly.
Right.
So we have really cheap, high quality bread readily available.
What can you tell me about the music scene over in Romania?
Music, there's quite a lot of club music.
Okay.
And I'm more into metal. I'm in the metal scene more or less, but...
Hold up. All right. So you done piqued my interest there, Simon. You done piqued my interest there. Does Romania, I know they do, but I don't know of any off the top of my head. Romania have a really good metal band?
There's a Trooper, for example.
Oh, you about...
They sing a lot in English.
Well, I'm Googling Romanian metal bands. All right. Because that is one thing I love to look at. Because I've done an episode now with a guy from Norway. Hell, all over the place, really. And anytime when they say, I listen to metal, I was like, okay, all right. Where do you listen? Who do you listen to and from where? Let's see. What was that band you said?
Trooper.
Trooper. There we go. All right. Formed in 1995. And you would say that's your top Romanian metal band?
Yeah. It's not really my style, but it's really good.
Okay. So is there a Romanian artist at all, like from Romania, that you like? or is it really just all other countries that?
There's one, but I'd say he's more into avant-garde stuff.
Okay.
Rodion GA.
Was that Rodeo GA?
Rodion. Rodion.
Okay. Let's see what we can find there. Okay. Lost musical superstar. Oh, freaking ad. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Pulling this from the garden. It looks like is he dead? It looked like I had an old picture.
Oh, I think I'm not sure exactly, but he started his career in the 70s.
All right. Rodion GA was heard by millions in Cold War era Romania and unknown everywhere else. He explains how he created a creator nothing and how it may be coming to an early end. All right, so I'm guessing that's Rodion. Where is it? Collector? Blah, 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 blah. Recorded several albums worth of extraordinary music in the late 1970s, 80s, giving it up in 89 after the death of his mother. But he's produced or managed other bands. Okay. So I have to look into Trooper and Rodion GA. Let me ask you then, because you're from Europe, and in my opinion, Europe as a whole has some of the best metal bands. Like here in America, we have some good ones, but like I love orchestral metal stuff with symphonies and like I don't know if I'm sure you heard if you know the band Children of Bodom from Finland.
I've heard about them, but I don't know any of their songs.
All right. Well, I like them. They're really good. Their lead singer just passed away less than a week ago. So that sucked. But Finland and Norway is definitely huge in terms of metal scene over there in Europe. So I would imagine, especially with the type of cultural history Romania has with, vampires and all that kind of stuff, Transylvania, they would have some good stuff. But how do you get into metal, I guess, is really my question as a kid.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Well, my brother was listening to a few metal songs. Mm-hmm. Although he wasn't really that into it, I really caught that bug.
Right.
So I've never stopped.
Who would you say then is your favorite artist?
My favorite artist? Well, other than this Rodion guy, it would be two Germans, I think. I'm not sure if they're Germans. Mm-hmm. That they make jazz, which I listen to sometimes.
Okay.
They're called Trig and Gusset.
Okay, I haven't heard of them, so I'm gonna have to look into them as well. But in terms of metal, do you have a favorite metal band? I guess I should have said band.
Electric Wizard.
Electric Wizard. Never heard. Oh, man! All right, you're telling me about new stuff today. Hell yeah! Electric Wizard. All right. English doom metal band from Dorset, formed in '93. Recorded 9 studio albums. All right, so I got some homework to do after all this. Okay, sir. All right, Simon. All righty. That's some cool shit, man. That's some cool shit. I will check into these guys and let you know. What about let's see. One of my favorite ones that I've gotten into recently is, and I've mentioned them a few times on the show. So if you're listening and God, he's talking about them again, it's my fucking show. I can do what I want. There's a Japanese band, a Japanese metal band called Ninja Isu. It is, they are from the 80s originally. I'll pull them up here for you. They sound cool as shit it's 3 old Japanese guys and they sound cool as hell. I absolutely love them. Cool as shit. 3 old Japanese guys playing heavy metal. Like that in itself is just cool in my opinion, you know? Gray-haired dudes playing metal is cool. I don't care where you're from. You know what I'm saying?
They look pretty badass.
Right? That's a cool little, dude's got his face all painted up and, other one's dressed it in, kimonos and all that kind of, and that guy's more like the Elvis-y type tourist look, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't mean disrespect if you're watching it and you're Japanese. I'm sorry. I'm a dumb American. My bad. But them, and there's a really, really cool band out of Australia right now, 12 Foot Ninja. That is pretty damn badass in my opinion. They sound crazy. They have a way all over the place type sound. I think they won like a Australian equivalent of a Grammy, the music award that we have here in America. They won like the Australian equivalent for metal or rock or something. So you've given me like 3, maybe 4 artists to look into. There's 2 for you. Ninja Nisu, 12 Foot Ninja. Let me know what you think. And
definitely.
Definitely. Hell yeah. That'd be awesome, man. So, born and raised in Romania, haven't left outside the country yet. I'm assuming that's a plan at some point, right?
Eventually, yeah.
Do you know if you could go today to any country, what would be the first place you would go?
I'd say either Sweden. I have an older brother that is studying there.
Okay.
Or England. There I have a cousin.
All right.
And I'd sort of like to go to England more. I think there's a few more interesting things to see there than in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe this summer I'll see exactly what happens.
Yeah, hopefully things, I don't know how the whole pandemic shit's going over there in Romania, but I know over here, like, I don't think any country is letting Americans fly to over, wherever. So, but one of the good things about you guys is you essentially, if you have the money, can kind of just drive, wherever. Like, I'm so jealous. I ain't gonna lie. I'm envious as fuck of that. Because here, like, we can drive to Mexico and Canada, yeah, if we wanted, but to like go anywhere else, we basically have to fly everywhere. And I've looked at tickets and they're not that cheap. Yeah. But you guys, when everything's going fine, you can kind of just drive from country to country, and it's that easy for y'all. So I'm very envious of that for sure. I know at some point I would like for all these countries I've spoken with to one day fly to them all and like do a one-on-one on the ground tour of the countries I speak with, where the people like you, if I fly to Romania, hook up with you and go explore Romania together, go to the forest, the haunted forest, and eat some bread, steal a wife or two, who knows, have a good old time,
yeah, sounds good.
So you said you're 19 as well. So I'm 30, I'm 31 this year. So you're young, you're still growing, you're still learning everything you see in the world, all that kind of stuff. Let's see, let me think of a really clear way to word this. Because again, you're passionate about Romania and its people and its culture, and obviously, like anyone should, you want your country to do well. And I ask you, what do you think is holding it back? is there a change that if, let's say you were in charge, I don't know if you guys have presidents or prime ministers, presidents. Okay. So if you, President Simon Florian, what would you do that you feel would help Romanians in go further in the world?
I'd make an audit on all the small village mayors, the small towns, because that's where corruption is thriving.
Right.
That's where nothing ever changes.
Right.
And it keeps the rural population very poor. For example, in the big cities, you have an European level standards of living with pretty good salaries. But if we go to a village, especially one somewhere more up in the mountains or in a poorer area, in a poorer country, in a county, you'd see almost third world levels of poverty.
Right. So you would like to see that more like everyone, well, one, like you said, you want to get rid of that corruption that's in that lower rural type villages and whatnot. Would you like to bring it up to that big city level or?
I think we could maybe make education programs for the people who engage in agriculture, so that they may be more efficient. Maybe grants for heavier equipment. But if you want to do that, you have to get a mayor first that can make a sewage system or a water treatment plant.
Right.
There's some villages where, for example, a mayor would hire someone to make a water treatment plant. The man would write the bill for an overblown amount of cash, keep the cash and buy the cheapest material, build the thing haphazardly, and it will break down.
Yeah. And sadly, that's like a world issue. I guarantee that's not just a Romanian thing. That happens here on our side as well.
Yeah. And it could be stopped only if someone from the capital looked into it. But there's not many chances for that to happen.
Unless you run, President Simon. I mean, you're young. You got life ahead of you, man. But when you're like 30 or 40 or whatever the age limit is to run for president of Romania, President Simon. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. President, a metalhead president. I don't care what country you're from. I don't think there's a metalhead president, I would argue, in the entire world right now. That's not something a president really likes, I would imagine. You know, a metalhead president. You got my vote. I know I don't have a vote, but if I give you my vote whenever you're of age to run, Simon, you got one vote. You at least got one vote. President of Romania, metalhead Simon. Hell yeah, that's cool.
Doesn't sound so bad when you put it like that.
Right, exactly. Before we go, man, is there anything else you would like to say of Romania or any questions for me and the crazy shit I got going on right now or anything at all? You have the last word.
I don't have that much to say. Only be careful out there, and things have to get better sometime soon. Let's hope.
Yeah, life has its ups and downs. And things are probably down across the world right now altogether, but at some point, like you were saying earlier, in terms of space, you can only go up. So I think everyone's going to go that route. Thank you again, Simon.
Thank you.
Do you have a way, or would you like to have a way for people to reach you?
I have an Instagram page.
Okay.
If someone has to, they could DM me on that. sy dot mi dot a dot no.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'll put it in the description. I'll get with you after this, and it'll be in the description. So anyone, better. So anyone who wants to follow future president of Romania, Metalhead Simon, his stuff will be in the description below. Simon, once again, thank you very much for coming on, and you have yourself a good day over there.
No, same too.
All right, take care. Oh, hey, you're still watching. Cool. Well, I'm assuming then you enjoyed the video. So if that's the case, like it. That'd be awesome. Share it, and obviously you need to subscribe. Like, that helps a lot. While you're also here, if you don't mind, grab yourself some Ramble swag, man. Who doesn't want my face on them? That's awesome. That's a pretty cool looking design. I mean, look at that. Grab yourself some swag. And again, thanks for watching the video. See you next time.